Hi everyone. Today I'll be working on my 2003 Sea-Doo Utopia 185. Got some throttle issues. Did a little bit of research, really haven't come up with anything. So we're going to tear into it and see exactly what's wrong with it. Okay, so here we are. It's 03 Sea-Doo Utopia. This thing is stiff. Now, I kind of cheated last weekend. I kind of took a little bit of this apart and sprayed some lube in there, and it seemed to have freed up and work really well. That was last Sunday. But over the week, it kind of got tighter and tighter. I don't think it's the cables. There's a box in here that all this is mounted to, so we're going to tear into that today. Try to really clean it up and see about really getting some good lubrication in there to free it up. What we'll be taking off is the speaker. We'll be taking this off. I've also prepped this area, took this stuff out because I plan on taking this tub out to gain access to the cables. So we'll go with that and see how far we get before it rains. Okay, so here is the tub removed. This gives you access to part of the hole in here, the gas tank. Here's a bunch of, looks like battery cables and stuff that goes up to the main switch. And looking, these two, this cable and this cable, this should be my throttle. This should be the reverse gate. So kind of looking, obviously I won't be able to get my hand way back up in there. So my main concern, knowing that the cables came this way, that means they can come out this way. But my main concern is, one, when I'm up here working, there's a neutral safety switch in that, which it'll make more sense whenever I get it apart. So I need to figure out how to undo that safety switch, and maybe I can pull the cable all the way back here to actually work on the box and get it lubed up. Really working well. Still might take the seat out just to see if there's a better access under the seat. So we'll see. Fighting against weather. Hopefully it'll stay dry on me. And I'll be back. Next thing I'm going to take out is the speaker, and we'll start looking at that. So we're taking out the speaker. There's 4 screws, or at least on mine. One there, one there, one there, and one there. So what we'll do is I'll take the screws out. We'll just pull the speaker out and kind of lay it to the side here. And then we'll start with the throttle handle. Okay, so the speaker is removed. There's not a lot of slack in my speaker wires here. I could probably take those out, but I'm just going to kind of let it sit there. I'll pull those ends out if I need to move this, if it's in the way. Here you can see the steering cable, and part of the cables, I believe that is going to be the reverse gate cable. So we're getting close, and we'll start with this here in just a second. Okay, so normally on a factory Sea-Doo throttle, there's a cover right here. Obviously I bought my boat used. This cover was missing. Basically you would just take a screwdriver and go in here and just have, there should be a little notch to fit a screwdriver in, and this whole cover should pop off, exposing that screw in there. Once you get this off, we're going to take that screw out. I think I might add here, as I'm taking this all the way out, obviously the screw will want to try to fall. So what I do is I just kind of keep the screwdriver holding the screw in place, but make sure it's all the way out, and this should pull straight forward and come out. And there it is. So, there's my screw. Like I said, I was in this last weekend. I'm going to clean all that up because I don't think it really helped us any. This has got splines on it. Also, whenever you go to take this apart, I would make sure that you are in your neutral start position. I'll show you this bracket here in a second. So this handle should only go one way on, but you want to make sure that your throttle and reverse gate are in your neutral positions. That way you don't have to worry about cable adjustments later down the road. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to pop this cover off. This is a plastic cover. I was in this last weekend. There's little tiny spots here that you can just pry on this. Basically, it comes off. Takes a little prying. Try not to booger up your other bracket there. Kind of hard doing this one-handed. It looks like I got it. Okay. So this pops off. Just lay that aside. Expose a set of screws. These screws here are what hold this to the hole of the bolt. These bigger screws is what holds this plastic piece to the box that's inside here. I've already replaced this one. Like I said, I was in this last weekend. These are Allen heads. They tend to strip out. They're not too tight, so you don't have to totally torque them on whenever you're securing it. So I just went down to Lowe's and bought a set of Phillips head. And so I'm going to take these out, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so the outer screws are removed, and so basically this piece is loose from the actual boat itself. Now we're going to take these screws off. This is where you kind of want to be careful because it can fall. The mechanism, the box, what I call the box that everything is controlled with. Once you take these out, the box behind here could possibly fall. So just take your time, pull these out, and you can kind of, as you're taking this part off, you can kind of keep hold of the bracket, the box that's inside here. Worst case scenario, you can always reach down in here, which is what I was doing last weekend to kind of hold this up, and we'll go from there. My objective right here is to look at what I lubed last weekend and look at the safety switch. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this part. As I'm taking this screw loose, as you can see, actually when we took these screws loose, we should have been able to pull this out a little bit. These round tabs that are in this plastic piece, that's part of the actual box that's in here that the throttle connects to. So as you can see, this box, once that last screw is pulled out, it pulls straight forward. Probably needs cleaning up, but that's what the handle connects to. So what I'm going to be doing is probably sticking my hand up through here, grabbing hold of this and rotating it to check the other side. I sprayed some graphite lube in here and also some lithium. I think this is going to be our problem section right here, but I wanted to turn it over and take a look at the neutral safety switch. Okay, so here we are. I've got this piece removed. I had to stick my hand up in here to grab hold of this this frame and whatnot, and so I was going to try to show you guys and gals that what this looks like on the other side. And I think what the problem is a groove that throttle cable goes in. So let's go over here. I hope this is turning out in the video. I sprayed some lithium grease right there last weekend. It looks like it's kind of dried up again. Here's the back side of that box. This is the back side, the pivot point of what the throttle hooks to. There's the safety switch. I hope you guys can see that. I'm shooting all this off my iPhone. So right here you could probably use parts cleaner and clean this all up and put some better lube or grease in there and test it. I'm trying not to remove any of the adjustments of the cables because their factory said it worked great last season. I really think this is my problem, but I'd like to get this out better to where I can work on it without trying to do it through this little hole. So I was following the safety switch wires that's in here, that was attached to this. As I kept following them as best I could, this looks like the loom that they're plugged into. So my thought process is I can possibly unplug it here, and of course I would want to secure this part of the loom, maybe a wire tie or something, so I don't lose it. And my thought process is maybe once I take that out, I might be able to fish this whole thing backwards through the side of the hole here and get it out into this area where maybe I can work on it a little bit better. So I think that's what I'm going to try. I'm still thinking on the seat, but I think I can reach it that way. I'm just kind of curious on how to fish it back this direction, maybe a string or something. And all this is done by shade tree mechanicking, basically. I've got very basic tools, enough to turn some wrenches on cars and whatnot, so there's nothing, I don't have anything special, and that's kind of the point of the video. So maybe average people can work on this a little bit and have fun with your boat. Okay, so after a lot of work, we managed to get this out. My transducer cable was caught between it. Basically, we pulled it out through the bottom here. I got it right here, and I think from here, what I'm going to end up doing, I'm going to pop this loose and this loose, take this off. I'm going to make sure I measure my distance for the threads in between here and here, and here and here. That way I can go back, make sure it doesn't lose its position. I'm going to take this screw off and this screw off, and hopefully I can get this unit loose and take this whole unit in to where I can look at this part, because that's the part that connects to the throttle, and that's, I believe, where we're having issues. Also, on a side note, there were some zip ties here holding, this is the reverse gate cable, and zip ties up here that was holding this cable, so I had to cut those off to allow the cables to bend up this direction more freely. Over here, clean this off a little bit, and I measured using 30 seconds. All right. That appears to be about 30 seconds, the distance from the bottom of this eyelet to the end of the threads. That's for the throttle. The reverse gate was roughly around 12. I also did a Sharpie a little line on to show the direction that the tab or those eyelets were facing. So from here, I'm going to remove these little C-clips and these 2 screws. I should be able to pull the cables loose from this box, and we're going to take this thing in and take it apart. Okay, so I took those little C-clips off. As I was taking these 2 screws out, you might want to be careful with the cables, obviously trying to come out to a more natural position for it, so just be careful. Take that off. I will probably put a Sharpie dot on this right here. Don't know if it matters. That way I know what end was facing towards me when I took this apart. Also, I went ahead, just because of the rain, if it might rain, I took my little metal ruler there and just kind of did a little scribe. And this is what was pointing out. And I did that on the throttle as well. It doesn't really look like this is trying to unthread itself, so that's kind of good. But I've got this loose. And here's a neutral safety switch. I'm going to put the 2 screws in here. Shouldn't lose those. And we're going to go do some repairs and see how this all works, and clean it up and give it some fresh grease and see if we can't get this thing to work freely for us.